Welcome to AutoSens, the world's leading community for ADAS and autonomous vehicle technology development. We create best-in-class events, training, and information to connect the global community of scientists, engineers, and other automotive industry experts. Joining us is a longtime member of the AutoSens family, Daniel Shwartzberg, Director of Business Development and Systems Solutions at Valens Semiconductor. Daniel, good to see you again. Welcome back to AutoSens, friend.
Thank you, sir. It's always a pleasure to be back. Great to see you again. And thanks for giving me the opportunity to chat with you. You know, I always enjoy it.
Indeed, indeed. And let's start, as we often do, talking about the MIPI Alliance. There was a face-to-face meeting that took place in Warsaw at the end of June 2025. This made waves across the automotive industry, as MIPI A-PHY continues to. But it was the first time that an OEM had committed to A-PHY and then spoke publicly about doing so and about why they chose this connectivity standard. Daniel, tell us more about what transpired at that meeting and why it's important.
Absolutely, Carl. So, I think people know MIPI Alliance, huge standardization body, and of course, finally bringing to the automotive industry what it's been wanting for so long, a truly open standard for high-speed SerDes, serializer, deserializer connectivity for sensors as well as for displays. Many of those member companies, I think there was almost 40 companies, there were almost 120, 130 representatives at that specific meeting in Warsaw. And these are meetings that happen, on a regular basis throughout the year run by the MIPI Alliance. But here really was a very, very public endorsement by an OEM. And before I say any more, no, I cannot tell you who it is. I have to be very careful. They did publicly endorse it within that meeting, but it's not something I can share in such an open forum right now, at least not at this point in time. But this representative from a very well-known OEM came to say why that OEM, why that company had chosen Valens's VA7000 family, that's our A-PHY compliant chipsets, for their future ADAS platforms. It was a very, very major endorsement. So I think a really big point for the industry's adoption of this amazing technology called A-PHY that the OEM came to speak. And it really was an exceptionally strong endorsement. He talked about the superior noise immunity, so as the performance factors that A-PHY bring to the industry. And he talked about things like the ability to reduce the size of things like cameras, so smaller cameras, smaller form factor cameras, less power, less heat to dissipate. He just put on the table there a whole wealth of benefits, a whole range of benefits that A-PHY brings to him, to his company, and which of course are equally applicable to any OEM that is looking to level up, shall we say, their sensor connectivity technology. And I think if I wrap up everything that he said into one sentence, it was basically, he kind of said A-PHY has much better performance than the incumbent solutions. And that's why they were so keen to choose it. It really answered all of the demands they had. It ticked every box they needed. And like I say, first open public endorsement by a leading OEM.
And then at that same meeting, there's a keynote address that's given by a senior vice president at Mobileye. And then once again, A-PHY receives this glowing endorsement. So why is Mobileye then so enthusiastic about this technology, Daniel?
Yeah, so two huge endorsements in one event. So if I turn the clock back just a few months, I'll remind you and your viewers, in Q1, we made this announcement together with Mobileye that they are the tier one that's involved in our 3 A-PHY design wins. And turning the clock back to September of 2024, we did make this very major announcement. 3 European OEMs selecting Valens VA7000 A-PHY compliant chipsets for their ADAS platform. So 3 design wins, SOP of 2026. And now we have that, Mobileye is the tier one behind those design wins. So they're heavily involved. And this, of course, was a senior exec at Mobileye. And he was not just talking about that, but he's talking about that he is anticipating a significant expansion of the A-PHY ecosystem. So in other words, of companies that are moving to adopt A-PHY technology and to bring A-PHY solutions to market. And he was in particular saying he expects more active participation in that ecosystem from the SerDes, the silicon guys doing the transmitter and the receiver chips, the serializer, deserializer chips. And also he expects to see more camera vendors, camera sensor vendors, I should say, actually, the sensor vendors. Also adopting A-PHY and becoming part of this ecosystem. So a very strong endorsement of where he sees the ecosystem going. But also when he talked about Valens's chips and our own technology, our own implementation of A-PHY, he provided firsthand feedback of the ease of integration that Mobileye had experienced when, as you see, being behind these three design wins. So when designing their products, supporting these design wins, he said, very, very easy to integrate. He said, great performance, which kind of brings us back to what the OEM had also said, meaning that, you can be flexible in your designs because the performance is so robust. You can maybe cut some corners here or there on the design itself, on the PCB, on the components you're laying down around the Valens chipsets. And when you wrap all of that together, the end result is a very fast time to market. So Mobileye really see the benefits of A-PHY technology, really see the benefits of Valens VA7000 chipset. So like I say, two great endorsements in one meeting. I mean, really, it was kind of a dream come true for us. And I think for many of the people there to hear what's happening in the automotive market right now with the A-PHY adoption.
And you're right, Daniel. It does feel like a dream come true. And for many of us who look at MIPI A-PHY and believe in the standard and the light bulb kind of goes off and you say, yeah, that's it. And one of the most attractive features is the optimization for sensor integration. And Daniel, I know we've talked about this before, and we know that Sony is moving forward with this type of activity. So to revisit this conversation again about the optimization for sensor integration, I think the latest company to announce this A-PHY sensor integration is OmniVision. Is that right?
That's absolutely correct, Carl. Yeah. So you hit the nail on the head here, right? So when you finally have a standard and a real open standard like A-PHY is, that opens the door for the silicon vendors to now integrate A-PHY directly into their products. And of course, this is particularly critical on the sensor side. Let's talk about cameras, where we need smaller and smaller form factors. Again, it comes back to what the OEM said in that Warsaw meeting. We need to get to smaller and smaller cameras. And if I can now integrate A-PHY directly onto the sensor itself, onto the sensor silicon, I now take away the need for a serializer, a transmitter chip in the camera, and that ticks the boxes of smaller footprints, smaller form factors, lower power, less heat to dissipate. Cameras are zero heat flow, so all of that zero airflow, excuse me, so all of that heat needs to be dissipated passively. And the first to announce it was Sony. We've had a few press releases in terms of interop testing ourselves with their silicon, in terms of EMC testing. That's all been successfully passed. And then a few months ago, we had this announcement as well that OmniVision now throw their weight behind the A-PHY standard and are moving forward with the integration. And in that press release, which I believe went out in March, we can share a link maybe in the comments with this video. And I'm going to try and paraphrase because I've got a terrible memory and I'll never remember word for word what their senior director of design said. But he said something along the lines of that OmniVision are fully committed to really driving innovation in automotive imaging. Of course, that's their strength, that's their forte, and they're looking always to innovate. And they see the integration of MIPI A-PHY directly into their sensors as really bringing significant value to their OEM customers, to their partners, to anybody who's looking to create imaging devices, so cameras in particular. So again, a standard provides that benefit. The sensor guys see the benefit of that benefit, shall we say, and that brings great value to their customers. So yes, OmniVision are the second public announcement. Who knows what the future brings, but I'm hoping and I'm hopeful that they're definitely not going to be the last to announce that integration.
And so we have the sensor integration aspect. Then we move to another key feature of the standard, which is interoperability. And MIPI A-PHY has not one, not two, not three, but nine silicon vendors committed to developing A-PHY silicon. So I think, Daniel, the big question here then is, why are we still seeing this kind of growth with MIPI A-PHY? And then ultimately, what is incentivizing these companies to invest in this technology and in this standard?
Yeah, so I kind of laughed a little bit because every time you and I speak, that number goes up and up and up. I think the last time we spoke to it was seven.
Yes.
Fast forward just a few weeks, we're now up to nine. So it's an excellent question. Yes, a standard brings with it interoperability, and that's what everyone in the industry likes. They want to be able to have the ability to pick and match silicon from different vendors. And MIPI A-PHY is truly interoperable, okay? And these different vendors, and we've been doing like PlugFest, and we've made public announcements about interoperability testing that we've been doing, really is proving that A-PHY does give exactly what the OEMs want, what the tier ones want. It's that interoperability at the silicon level. Why are they doing this now? Of course, anybody who knows what it takes to develop a piece of new silicon knows that this is millions and millions. If you want to do both sides of the links, you're probably several tens of millions of dollars worth of investment to bring that silicon through the design phase into production to market, right? So this is a huge amount of money that these companies are investing. Now, they're not doing it, I presume, because they have cash to spare and because they're bored. They're doing it because they see the clear benefits that MIPI A-PHY brings. And they see the growing adoption within the industry of A-PHY in terms of that ecosystem that I talked about earlier. So it's an ecosystem now at the silicon level, but it's an ecosystem at the product level as well. They see the ecosystem of tier ones moving forward with designs. They hear already about the OEMs as well adopting this technology with design wins. A-PHY is an incredible technology. It's a standard, it's a DSP base, it's a digital technology with outstanding performance that is orders of magnitude more robust in terms of electromagnetic interferences and our robustness to them than legacy solutions. They must be getting interest from their customers and their customers who are looking for A-PHY solutions. So it's like everybody here sees an interest in bringing A-PHY to market, and these silicon vendors, the growing number of them, are investing tens of millions of dollars to bring chipsets out. It's a massive opportunity. If we think about the number of SerDes links, serializer, deserializer links, just for sensors that go into vehicles as we move through the different SAE levels on the road to full autonomy, so ADAS to full autonomy, you see a move from just a handful of sensors to tens of sensors that will be needed in the vehicle. And every one of those sensors will need an A-PHY device. Not everybody will do integration, but on the receive side, you will need A-PHY devices. So we see a very large total addressable market that a lot of these silicon vendors are now rushing to take a piece of. So yes, a massive opportunity. Lots of companies want part of it. Interoperability built in. I mean, it's really the perfect storm for the silicon guys.
Valens Semiconductor will once again, Daniel, take center stage at AutoSens Europe 2025 in Barcelona. Before we close our conversation about MIPI A-PHY and the benefits that this standard brings and how the VA7000 series is right there, right in the epicenter of it, what can you share with us today about your booth? What can we expect to see in Barcelona?
Ooh, I need to be careful not to give away too much. So maybe just a little teaser. Yeah, so
Sure.
we'll be there. We'll have our European team there as well. Meeting customers, demonstrating the technology. We'll have a couple of demos in the booth. It is a very robust technology, as I've said, and it is DSP based. So we have these digital mechanisms, these DSP algorithms hardwired into the silicon, and we can leverage off of those to add some, shall we say, secret sauce features of our own technology. And we're going to be showcasing some of those, a couple of very nice demos to show of the benefits that our silicon brings to our customers who are now adopting A-PHY solutions with our products. I won't say exactly what they are people who come to the booth will see. What I will say, one of those demos, actually, we've heard from several OEMs and tier ones that our ability to do that within our silicon saves the tier one the need to put an FPGA on the board in order to achieve the same sort of results. So we're talking about built-in versus additional components. That means system cost savings, smaller boards, simpler designs, and so on. So we're going to be having two live demos in the booth, but also we're going to be having what we call our power wall. And that is the power wall of A-PHY ecosystem products. So in other words, we'll have on show products from across the industry, from different vendors, different applications, different use cases, but all of them using A-PHY technology from Valens. And that really drives home just how fast this ecosystem is growing and how fast it continues to grow, because we did show last year some of this, but this year we're going to be able to show new things and more. So again, it's live demos. It's the power wall of ecosystem products. We're going to have a great team there for everyone to come and find out more about our products, more about A-PHY technology. And I really welcome everybody who's watching to stop by the booth and come and have a chat with us. It's going to be a pleasure to see everyone there.
I feel like it'd be great to grab a cup of coffee and just watch the power wall.
There you go. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll be happy to do that with you guys as well.
Daniel Shwartzberg, Director of Business Development and Systems Solutions at Valens Semiconductor. Always a pleasure to have you with us, and looking forward to seeing you and your European team in Barcelona for AutoSens Europe 2025, October 7th through the 9th. Until then, Daniel, thank you for being with us virtually.
Once again, Carl, thank you so much for having me here. And yes, we look forward to seeing everybody in Barcelona.
For more information on Valens Semiconductor and to find out more about our upcoming events, see the links in the description or visit auto-sense.com. That's auto-sense.com. And for more in-depth interviews like this, subscribe to the AutoSens YouTube channel and follow AutoSens on LinkedIn. In Detroit, on behalf of AutoSens, I'm Carl Anthony.